Interviewing Ms. Wanda Fields from Field Investments. I got a couple of questions for you, Ms. Fields. First, from a legal perspective, what type of business entity is your favorite firm or startup? Is it a sole proprietorship, partnership, or liability company or a corporation? And also, why did the firm chose this type of business entity?
Field Investment is a sole proprietorship. It is just my husband and I that own the company, and maybe one day our kids will be involved in it, but right now it's just he and I. We chose that type of entity just for simplicity reasons. It was very easy to get set up from a legal perspective and to incorporate all of our assets, our properties, into a sole proprietorship.
Second question, Ms. Fields. What is the firm's most important contract or contractual relationship? And who is the other party to the contract? And what are the main terms of the agreement?
Well, with Fields Investment, we own and manage our own assets, our own properties that my husband and I own. So I would say the most important legal contractual agreement that we have is our lease agreement between us as the owners and our tenants who reside in the home. It goes over what rents they're to pay, what rules and regulations that they have to follow, when they have to pay their rent, how many people can be living in the house, what type of pets are allowed, and just their general lease terms. So I would say that is probably the most important legal document, is the lease agreement.
Third question, when it comes to intellectual property, what is the firm's most valuable type of intellectual property? Is it a trade secret, a patent, copyright, or a trademark? And if so, how did the firm acquire the legal rights to this intellectual property?
Well, I would say with Fields Investment, it's a pretty simplistic company and basis for a business model. We really don't have a trademark or patent. Basically, what we do is we go in and we buy homes that, are possibly distressed. We renovate them, and then we rent them out, and we hold them in our portfolio until the market has appreciated, and then we sell them. So there's no actual material property that we use to run our business. It's our office, and it's our own intellect, and we just don't have any really trade secrets or patents that we use, other than strong customer service has always been an important factor.
Fourth question, who is the firm's most essential or important agent? And from a legal perspective, is this agent an employee or an independent contractor?
Well, with Fields Investment, it's just my husband and I, and we're co-owners. So we would each be, half owner. As far as in that position, sometimes when we do go to sell a property, I will then become an independent contractor with Robles Realty, who that's where my license is hung. So my real estate license is hung with Robles Realty, and in that entity, once we go to sell a property and I list that property, I then transition into an independent contractor for real estate purposes.
Fifth questions, when it comes to litigation, what is the most important lawsuit the firm is facing today? Is the firm the plaintiff or the defendant in the case? And if so, is the case more likely to settle out of court or go to trial?
Well, knock on wood, we have had no lawsuits ever and don't plan to have any. I would say that, there's all types of possibilities with lawsuits, especially with my real estate license. And even Fields Investment, as far as, the properties that we own, if we have somebody who possibly might trip and fall and then sue us for injury because it was a crack in the, front door walkway or something like that, we carry insurance on all of our properties as far as general liability to support us in those lawsuits and hopefully they never happen, but if that ever arises, we do have proper insurance for that. As far as me being a licensed agent, fortunately, we've never had to go to court to defend a lawsuit or anything. We have had disputes that have been settled with mediation. as far as people wanting to back out of contracts or back out of lease agreements, and they didn't do so in a proper time frame. So fortunately, we've never been sued. We've never had a lawsuit in any of the companies that I've been involved in. And that's just, we follow our code of ethics and try to stay out of trouble.
Last question. I know you're strong with your customer service and your ethics commitment, but describe the firm's commitment to ethics and its ethical culture.
Well, as a licensed real estate agent, I do have fiduciary duties and responsibilities to my clients, both buyers, sellers, tenants, etc. So I am actually, monitored and given guidelines by the state for that. Those would include loyalty, confidentiality, disclosure, obedience, reasonable care and diligence, and accounting. So if a client gives me an escrow check, I am responsible for depositing that escrow check with a title agent or an attorney within a timely manner. If there is a disclosure that's available from a seller and I represent the buyer, then it is my responsibility to actually issue that buyer this disclosure, whether they ask for it or not. So I am monitored and have to perform these fiduciary guidelines, or I'll lose my real estate license.
Last thing before we go, if it's possible, could you show us a legal or ethical aspect of the firm, if it's possible?
Sure. Legal aspect, I would say a sales contract to buy or sell a home would be, one of our most critical documents that we have, and this would be a sales contract. This is provided to us and monitored by the Bar Association, and this is approved throughout the state of Florida. This would be a lease agreement, and it is quite the document once you include all the attachments of the Florida landlord-tenant law, lead disclosure, tenant-landlord disclosures, etc. So those would be two critical documents.
Thank you for your time, Ms. Fields. It was a pleasure interviewing you.
Thank you very much, Raymond.